Sterling Heights Academy, a name that carried weight in the circles that mattered most. At least, that's what they tell you if you ask the kids who went there. It wasn't just a school. It was the school. A place where the sons and daughters of CEOs, politicians, and media moguls spent their days behind gleaming marble walls, under the watchful eye of legacy and expectation. It was exclusive. It was elite. And if you asked some of the students, it was for the right kind of people. But on one particular Thursday morning, something happened at Sterling Heights Academy that shook those marble walls to their core. A moment that would be whispered about in the halls, in group chats, and eventually across the internet like wildfire. It all started with one name, Raven Taylor. And it started because someone made a mistake. A very big mistake. Chapter 1. The wrong day. Raven was running late. Not because she'd overslept. She never did that. It was more that she'd spent too much time reviewing her notes for AP Calculus. There was a quiz today. Not just any quiz, but that quiz. The one that could tip her average from an A to an A. She had 5 minutes to get across the main hall before Mr. Patterson locked the door. 5 minutes. She could make it. At least, that's what she thought. As she turned the corner, backpack snug on her shoulder, earbuds in, focus dialed in on the rhythm of her sneakers on the polished floor, Raven came to an abrupt stop. Blocking her path was a 6'2" wall of smug arrogance. Grant Whitmore. Blonde. Blue-eyed. Built like the starting quarterback he was. If the Greek gods had a mascot for entitlement, it would be him. His family owned half of downtown. His dad was a regular on news channels, and his mom ran a charity that helped disadvantaged children, or so the brochures said. And Grant? Grant was the king of Sterling Heights. He ruled through fear, status, and the unwavering loyalty of his crew. Hunter, Mason, and Tyler. Together, they were untouchable. Or so they thought. And today, Grant was standing right in Raven's way, arms folded, leaning against the lockers like he had all the time in the world. Like this was just another moment to assert his dominance. "Look who wandered off the plantation," he said with a lazy grin. The words hung in the air, vile and loaded. Raven took a deep breath, removing one earbud. She'd heard worse. But not today. "Move," she said flatly. Her tone was steady, calm, controlled. The students who had started to slow their pace, sensing drama, now came to a stop. Phones weren't out yet, but they would be. Sterling Heights had an unspoken rule. If Grant Whitmore picked a target, you watched. No one intervened. No one said a word. And Raven knew that. But she also knew something else. She was done. Grant chuckled, pushing off the lockers, taking a step closer. "You think you can talk to me like that?" Another step. "You don't belong here, Taylor. This school's not for." Shove. It wasn't hard, but it wasn't gentle either. He pushed her shoulder with the weight of someone who expected her to crumble. Raven took half a step back, feet steadying, and something in her snapped. Chapter 2. The Flip. "Last warning," Raven said. Her voice was low. Calm. Too calm. Grant's grin widened. "Or what? You gonna run and tell Patterson? Go ahead. Play the victim." Another shove. Harder. The crowd murmured. A few more students slowed, forming a loose semicircle. Phones appeared. Someone whispered, "This is about to be good." They had no idea. Raven exhaled, dropped her backpack, and moved. Before Grant could react, Raven stepped in close, grabbing his arm. She pivoted, dropped her weight, and with fluid precision, flipped him over her shoulder. Wham! Grant hit the polished floor with a sickening thud. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, "Oh my God, did you see that? No way." Phones were up, recording, capturing every second of Sterling Heights' untouchable king lying flat on his back, staring at the ceiling, shock and pain etched across his face. Raven picked up her backpack, stepped over him. "Told you," she said, as casually as if she'd just corrected his math homework. The hallway erupted. Claps. Cheers. Someone yelled, "World Star." And just like that, the balance of power shifted. Chapter 3. Viral. By lunch, it wasn't just the school that knew. It was everywhere. The video, grainy, shaky, but clear enough, had already gone viral. on group chats, on TikTok, on Instagram. The caption varied. Rich boy gets wrecked. Black girl flips privilege on its head. Elite school bully gets humbled. But the message was the same. Grant Whitmore wasn't untouchable anymore. And Raven Taylor? She was something else entirely. Kids who had never looked her way before now wanted to sit at her table. Where'd you learn that move? Are you, like, trained? Can you show me? Raven handled it all with grace. Smiles. Polite nods. But she knew better. She knew Grant. This wasn't over. Chapter 4. The Invitation. The message came at 1:47 p.m. Unknown number. Jim. After school. No cameras. Settle this. She read it twice. Of course it was Grant. And of course she went. Because Raven Taylor didn't back down. At 4:15 p.m., the Sterling Heights gym was cavernous and empty. Sunlight streamed through the high windows, catching the dust in lazy golden beams. Raven entered. The doors slammed shut behind her. Big mistake, Taylor, Grant's voice echoed. She turned. He was there. And so were Hunter, Mason, and Tyler. 4 against 1. Raven sighed. Wow, must be scared if you need backup. Grant's jaw twitched. Shut up. Chapter 5. The Fight. He came at her first. Wild. Sloppy. Furious. Raven sidestepped the punch. Mason lunged. She ducked, swept his legs out from under him. Thud. Tyler tried to grab her. She drove an elbow into his ribs. Crack. He dropped. Hunter hesitated. Wrong move. She kicked him square in the chest. He hit the floor hard. And then there was Grant. Breathing hard. Red-faced. He charged. She dodged once. Twice. Then drove a kick into his gut. He staggered. Raven grabbed his collar, slammed him to the floor. Leaning in close, she whispered, Don't ever touch me again. Chapter 6. The New Queen. By the next morning, everything had changed. Sterling Heights had a new ruler. Not a king. A queen. No one feared Grant anymore. They feared Raven. But it wasn't fear that made her powerful. It was respect. And Grant learned the hard way. There are some people in this world you just don't mess with. Epilogue. Legacy. Weeks passed. The story became legend. New students whispered about it in awe. Seniors nodded in respect when Raven walked by. And Grant? He kept his distance. Because even in a school built for privilege, even when the odds are stacked, sometimes the wrong girl isn't the wrong girl at all. She's exactly where she belongs.